But I'm looking a bit more at some older games, maybe than the newer ones. What do we have here? Some... Oh, I have actually Vagabond Lion versus ChronoJJ here from... I don't know when, but it's a very old recorded game. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do Vagabond Lion versus ChronoJJ. You're gonna be seeing how Chrono played in the olden times. I have no idea why I have it here. But it's a game from RTS Sanctuary, and it's number 3386. So currently we are at about almost 100,000, if I remember correctly. Or maybe even more. So that's a massively old game. Okay, so let's have a look onto a bit of an older game. It's going to be one played by, as you can see, ChronoJJ against Vagabond Lion. It's from somewhere about 2004. I'm gonna be finding the proper info about it later then. So really curious how ChronoJJ is gonna be shaping up and what he is gonna be showing us from his old school skill here. And it's gonna be apparently, as you can see, Gaia versus Ra. Okay, also should be putting on right about now the red blinder, so that you're not gonna be spoiled. Hopefully the version of the game is gonna be also proper. And therefore the last Titans patch, even though it was played in 2004, so question this about that fairly open still, but obviously we're gonna be looking at and waiting for the strategies the players are gonna be showing us here. Okay, so we're gonna be having quite a nice hunt at the back, obviously, with the starting gold mine. Quite a good beginning with the gold mine right next to his base as well. Obviously the glory of the original maps is gonna be full to see here yet again. And well, nothing much to see here too much. You can see he's gonna be protecting one of the towers with the extra Gaia trees, and apparently he has already discovered another gold mine with more to the top here. On the right, it's gonna be a settlement. The second one, kinda curious if he's gonna be heading for Archaic TC considering he's against Ra. But let's switch into Chrono's point of view, as he will be having a starting gold mine, maybe a bit sucky, but he's gonna be having, of course, the secondary one also in a good position, combined with the town center. That seems to be pretty much alright. So we are gonna be, of course, waiting for more gold mines, because that's always the most important part for the Ra. And for any kind of Egyptian, he's starting, of course, on the hunt there. And so far, this is a bit on the sad side, but obviously we're gonna be seeing a bit later, maybe some temple, maybe a few houses at least to protect it slightly better. And considering that he's against the Gaia, basically based on current meta, you'll be thinking that it will be a bit of a slow game. And considering that it's from 2004 or 5, somewhere along those lines, I'm not really sure. Because it might just as well turn out to be an aggressive Gaia, but really don't know. You can see double gold mines already discovered by Chrono, as he's taking home the relic for for better farming rate. Alright, so apparently gods like in ChronoJJ here. Or maybe some kind of making up for the position of the starting gold here. But let's probably turn off the Fog of War. Yeah, so at this point there's not much of a reason to be keeping it at this point in. Fun fact, ChronoJJ invented Sphinx raiding, really? Could be. He was a top expert back then. He was, of course, a top legger as well. As ChronoJJ he was probably one of the lone players in the top that was playing on dial-up for an incredibly long time. And therefore, you can just imagine how it was. He was playing on 56 kilobits via the internet. 56 kilobits. Not megabits or anything like that. That's what he played back up on. And therefore you can imagine, it was usually when you were playing with him, it was about like up to second of lag. Not millisecond, a second, straight second. That's what he also played back then on. So I'm thinking that most of the people here and today would be just, their head would just explode if they had to be playing through games like these. So you just need to be appreciating how much better conditions you have, even if you complain in the game about like, I don't know, 300-400 millisecond lag. Then like, yeah, you probably really don't want to be going into the past and seeing how we used to enjoy the game. And of course that's also explaining why we older players usually do have a bit more patience with things. Because we were kind of glad to be getting the games even going over internet. And we were glad to be having that, even though I was of course lucky as well. Because I actually got, through my brother, quite a decent internet. We were having cable, so broadband, about 128 kilobits. I think it was the first one, about 2000s already. That was like really good back then. And quite soon after it was 256, for quite some time, and 5, 10, or 12 a bit later, I'm thinking, about 2000. So you're having like one of the first broadbands in the Republic. So you're having quite a good internet, and yeah, well, have to be right about now. Knocking it on the wood that so far I'm kind of lucky with that. And therefore having very rare connection issues on anything along those lines, as the infrastructure here in Czech Republic is kind of solid, which obviously is given because it's like newer, as the difference from, of course, from like USA and the other countries that were first with the internet is the fact that they are having all the infrastructure, and of course it's costing them tons to right now rebuild it, to get under houses and everything along those lines. So that's the reason why, like, it can be better in the newer countries than in the older ones, even though they were first. And it might not be making sense to some, but this is kind of the reason. Sometimes being first can be yielding problems a bit later. You can see there's gonna be the back TC right now from Vagabond Lion. Need to right now switch into his point of view. And he is, of course, still not advancing. We had about 4.5 minutes already. And he's kind of not even close to advancing into the next age. And Torture, we were talking about it a bit before. I never was any kind of top expert. I was kind of on the threshold between a good player and a really good player. Never really breached that because I just didn't put in the time to be improving like that. So I was decent enough to be able to hold some game, especially in team games with experts, but never was any kind of top expert, definitely not. Definitely not, that was another level from me. But for example in RTS League I did have some games with, when I had good teammates, then I could be putting up quite a good effort. So that's kind of like exactly the threshold point. If you are able to hold your own in a team game with good players against other good players, then you are kind of almost there. But obviously it still needs quite a lot more effort to be really up there. But well, at any rate, you can see the crocodiles were having a bit of an idea about the citizen. You can see he's going really aggressively. Talking about the aggro Gaia, I'm actually right. I didn't see this game before, but I kind of guessed it that something like that might be happening. You can see this is the player who is going for Archaic TC and is just now advancing through Ocean or through Leto. And he's having right now Villager next to the enemy town center in the front. As right now ChronoJJ is trying to get a TC here. As you can see that Chrono is still having right now the Pharaoh, but that's gonna be still the farming relic. Oh, we need to right now switching into him. Oh, well, Citizen right now already killed by the budget. Not much of a wonder. And yes, that's still the villager farm getting in rate. Bit interesting that he didn't exactly drop it off, because he was coming nearby. And for some reason, he's still empowering it. So that he wants to be getting faster priest. Wow, empowering temple. Now that's a rarity. Oh, he's actually stuck there, isn't he? He's stuck there. I think he is. I don't know how he got there. But I think he's stuck. We'll see a bit later, but I'm fairly certain he's actually stuck there. And so the only thing that he can be doing is right now empowering the temple. Okay, this is kind of fun game from the very beginning, apparently. And well, therefore, as he's gonna be right now dropping into the barracks to go for a bit of defense, you can see that the guy is going quite aggro, not interested in anything like too much as far as full-on booming or I don't know, something along those lines. But ChronoJJ, as he's right now at only 70 food, also you can see he's absolutely not dropping too many farms. He advanced, you can see through Ptach, so no Shaduf yet. Or rather, does he have Shaduf already? Yes, he does. He does have Shaduf, he does have Hendax and Pickaxe. You can see only one farm, but absolutely not any kind of 2TC fasty heroic. You can see this is gonna be only economical guild. It's gonna be potentially drawing some fire in case there's gonna be raiding underway. So you can be of course seeing Kasek can be right now carrying all that he needs home. This is still kind of memey. That blocked priest in there and doesn't have anything else. You can see a bit of an idle villager with one monument, two monuments. He's having two monuments. That could be signaling a bit more favor. So therefore some maybe Petsuchai. If he gets through Hathor, kind of like standard. As you can see, the Pharaoh so far moving kind of randomly. Seems to be always going to drop it into the temple, but then kind of changing his mind. As finally it seems like there are gonna be a few automatons through bottom, and he's gonna be actually healing them. Oh well, look at that. Even in 2004 or 5, people were using automatons as they were supposed to use them. And now people need to be discovering it on Wobbly Balance patch. I mean, like, seriously guys, you call yourself some expert players today? Vagabond Lion was doing it, what is it, 16 years ago. 16 years ago. And apparently thought that it's a good idea and was able to do it. But well, nonetheless, that's gonna be a 30C as well right now coming forward. And for the opponent, probably not so much. You can see he's having a few idols here as he's apparently busy looking around. Probably dropping a few farms. And as he's already transitioning also through gold mine to the right, you can see he's having hand axe and pickaxe. Black Lotus is already in and skin of the Rhino. I'm going to be right now checking here as the battle is gonna be underway. With automatons not being warrior obviously, and the Turmae, they don't have anything else either on them, at least so far. He's gonna be of course forcing the opponent away from the food. You can see he's probably gonna be waiting to get back into his spot. He does have a lot of piggies still to the top side where he could be switching into. With the Pharaoh obviously coming back for a bit of a defense. And well, in the meantime, as there's gonna be a slinger, you can see right now slightly scouting to the bottom. You can see double slingers from Chrono. He's gonna be at least discovering the citizens on the TC, but with only 2, you can see already Bowsaw and Shaft Mine. So pretty strong echo from Lion at 9 minutes. Already well prepared, and he seems to be right now heading back as he wants to be protecting the villages a bit more. They're gonna be able to survive this for a bit longer because they are literally getting about 2 damage per second in here. As Pharaoh was right now aiming in. Yeah, that was quite a risky play at this point by ChronoJJ, sending Pharaoh alone like that. Especially since he has seen that Vagabond Lion was moving away from that. So not sure if that was all that well thought through. As obviously right now ChronoJJ is probably gonna be soon cast in rain, as he does have already plenty of farms. Yeah, apparently top-notch efficiency here. Kind of interesting that he's missing that one spot there right next to the TC. But well, at any rate, yeah, so you're gonna be looking into... the Pharaoh probably could be even hiding inside. Unfortunately, he was probably looking somewhere a bit else. I don't think next to the TC because it's almost already finished. And well, switching into Vagabond Lion. How's he looking with his gameplay? He's at 117 for 149. He's still in the classical age, obviously getting plenty of good powers available. And fairly interesting that he's not even using the Priest all that much. He literally used only one. And he still hasn't used even the second one because he just doesn't need it. So he's keeping it for later in case he needed to do something along those lines. But yeah, well, there's gonna be a bit of rain right now coming down, and therefore plenty of food should be also coming for him. You can see Mr. Budget is gonna be right now getting destroyed with right now one of the heroes, or the Turmae turned into heroes. And ChronoJJ seems to be having quite a significant problem dropping a few more barracks, even though he already does have 3. He'll be also right about now switching into the point of view here. More Kante barracks coming forward. He's gonna be having 4. He's going hardcore Turmae. Nothing else whatsoever. He also got the towers, and otherwise not that many upgrades. He also doesn't have farms, so therefore no advantage of the rain whatsoever. ChronoJJ is gonna be getting raided on the gold continuously, apparently. As he's gonna wait on trying to run home. Apparently Spearman and double slingers. The same in every single one of them. Every single one of them. One villager dead. Another is gonna be probably dead sometime soon as well. So this is gonna be right now the forest. Remember the talk about casting forest on gold? Now there you have a bit of an answer for you. And a bit of a nudge. That's what he's gonna be doing here. Trying to block it at least a bit and prevent it. Considering there's another gold mine to the left that he needs to be controlling. That's also the reason why he's gonna be keeping the trees for a bit later. Because he wants to be abusing it a bit. As you can see, he's got an actually 3rd monument, ChronoJJ. He's apparently meaning business. Where the Heroic Age got power. Or they got power. Heroic Age mythical units. You can see he's gonna be right now trying to even claim the TC with armory and potentially the villager right after. So ChronoJJ hopefully has noticed that. Yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna be well aware that something along those lines might be coming up. You can see that the automatons, they are right now repairing each other. You can see that. This is so cool to see. That players back in the olden times did do that. It used the abilities of the players properly. As you can of course right now looking into more of an advantage. You can see a few Kero Ballistae already switched into by the Gaia. And obviously with right now ChronoJJ really falling into the trap here. I don't think he was exactly paying attention there. Maybe he was looking a bit more to the left. As the citizen got destroyed by the Pharaoh. So congratulations on that. That kind of backfired on Lion so a bit. And while he lost 2 citizens so far, we also must recognize that ChronoJJ was also kind of similarly afflicted. Maybe a bit of a problem that the forest fire apparently, or the forest wasn't cast all that properly. So they didn't block all that much of a gold. You can see there are gonna be more villagers trying to sneak forward into... He's definitely not giving up on that. He's mean in business with that back TC here. So you're gonna be looking at medium Turmas with nothing much on them. ChronoJJ, apparently, even through all that food that he got, he is still not advancing into the heroic age. He's right now not even house, he's missing 2 houses. Somehow, so he's gonna have to figure it out soon. You can see he's empowering the goal to the top, that's gonna be almost out. But he's having another one here to the right flank. And that's not gonna be visible for Lion, right? Don't think it should be. Oh, view lock. Don't want view lock, want fog of 4. Ah, he actually does see it, so it's well positioned. And much more importantly, he's already gonna be getting Thea. And he was getting some upgrades. Where is the armory? Where does he have the armory? Ah, there. You can see he's getting copper and copper. You obviously don't have the observer tools. So we need to be playing it and casting it a bit old school. As he's aiming already to the top. As he's probably gonna be expecting that the player might be already switching in there one of those days. But yeah, well, so far Chrono is biding his time. And he's trying to basically move through the middle. Maybe even trying to attack the TC, we'll see. Let us see. Obviously, if you carry Balisade, they're gonna be fairly easily destroyed by the slingers. But bit of a problem is that we are gonna be seeing these Teamfall Embers coming forward. And with not enough priests, even for example, the automatons will be rather solid against anything coming up. And oh, budgets! Okay, so that's what Chrono is gonna be coming for to help him in the early fights. Okay, so it's gonna be one automaton right now destroyed with plenty of Turmas. Apparently aiming to punish a few villages all the way to roulette. As ChronoJJ managed to finish with the TC in the end. So it's gonna be 3 versus 3. And you know the Gaia trees are gonna be cast. Ah, there, yeah. He's continuing to block the gold. He's gonna be using probably even the 3rd one to completely lock it away right after. So he's gonna be right now favoring the bit of a map control with it. So here this TC seems like that it's actually gonna be really falling because any kind of army is gonna be destroyed, and right now the slingers will be quite a solid counterplay. Looking right now at the Turmas coming in, because they're probably not gonna be having too many extras besides the whole copper line. But it still could be quite a lot better than what ChronoJJ has. You can see Chrono doesn't even have mediums, he's having only the spearmen as mediums. And well, look at all of those budgets here. That's gonna be actually quite a big problem, because the guy obviously has a struggle with heroes, so this is gonna be a victory for Chrono. He's gonna be able to destroy the town center in there, and therefore he's suddenly getting quite a bit of an edge, even though of course on the gold still there's a bit of a problem. And the one denied in the middle, with the last trees that are gonna be coming from the right side, there's gonna be significant issue a bit later, but still there are plenty of gold mines around here, so it's not like that ChronoJJ is gonna be caring too extremely much. So you can see right now Vagabond Lion is committing into kind of a bit of an interesting fight, because that doesn't seem like a fight that he could be winning in any kind of universe. Especially with the budgets being in to potentially help against the automatons. So yeah, that's kind of definitely something. As you can see, a few dryads at least coming forward from Lion. But Lion is having quite a good economy. 1700 food, 800 gold, so he's gonna be getting Mythical Age pretty soon. And considering that ChronoJJ is still in the Classical Age, and see he's gonna be slowly maybe getting into the Heroic. He's having 300 food and gold. Still quite a bit far away, even though at least right now he's on pop limit, so the resources are gonna be a bit easier to stockpile. And maybe he wants to be a bit switching away from the wood, as he's stockpiling way too much. 2000 wood right now, that's not exactly what he needs too much. Okay, this is gonna be about now also a bit of a respectable army pretty much, as he's trying to raid through the top side, or kinda raid. ChronoJJ is kinda looking on the gold mine, but Vagabond Lion already has a pretty palace there standing. So there's gonna be apparently another target for all the spearmen, taking it down. So even though they don't have any kind of crush damage, they are doing quite a decent job dealing with the buildings, as they just basically have quite a solid damage on their own. You can see of course Turmas are not gonna be doing too much of a massive damage themselves. With, for example, kind of time to check on some kind of economical upgrades. With Bowsaw, you can see he's having also Shaft Mine with only Plow though there. Only Plow. With Copper Shields and Bowsaw. At least something is coming for Chrono. But he seems to be definitely right now getting ready for the Heroic Age. Fairly curious that he actually advanced or the upgraded Masons before he even get into the Heroic Age, and he was missing the food. That's a very curious decision in there. We'll be thinking to do it otherwise. But yeah, well, apparently budgets are quite his favorite unit right about now. A few of them are also spazzing in. But against the Atlantean and on top of that a Gaia, kinda thinking really why not. That can be working pretty well. As they do have not that high resistance, but they're of course ranged. And they do have very high attack. You can see Shifting Sands all the way to the bottom with the villagers at the nick of time. As he discovered by the priest. Or by the slinger rather, I'm thinking. And it seems like that this could be actually stopped in the end. Depends if he's gonna be having some kind of other god power sometime soon, but well, at this point he's also forgetting to, unfortunately, to switch into the heroic age as he's really consumed by the microin, and that's gonna be harder coming up. So pretty standard god. Nothing really out of the ordinary, but also plenty of villages destroyed, and of course Skin of the Rhino definitely coming into effect here. So well played in that, it's gonna be a TC stop for the time being, but he's meaning it really seriously. Even Monument to Pharaoh, almost done. And almost finished. But still gonna be taking at least a bit of effort. And yeah, well, the budgets with right now apparently a bit of a sucky by the implosion. Let's see how they like that, because I don't think they're gonna be able to escape with their massive speed of 3.8. It's gonna be unfortunately maybe even sucking a bit of Vagabond Lion in. Yeah, you can see all the budgets in, and not that many hit points destroyed, but apparently quite a decent amount of budgets actually destroyed. And otherwise the army, can see the hit points are very low. So that might be fairly influential. That might be influential as Argus is already come in. With apparently we are having champion infantry already prepared from Vagabond Lion. Bronze weapons and double copper already in. Whereas to the bottom side, that will be the TC apparently done in no time. And with the heroic in, unfortunately it seems that Vagabond Lion is gonna be way overtaxed for that. And the original siphons are already in the battle, and of course this CC is therefore gonna be falling. I don't think there's gonna be much of a chance that ChronoJJ can be withstanding this all that for too long, rather. For too extremely long. But nonetheless, he still does have right now the trust in the budget. But he's probably gonna be switching, I'm thinking, into Petsukai, as he is. You can see how hardcore he's switching into Petsukai now. And he's not even using auto-Q. Look at that. That's why ChronoJJ is of course having the idles here and there, because he's going hardcore, basically clicking everything in. He's not using auto-Q everywhere or anywhere. Not sure if he was using it on the villages earlier, maybe, but definitely not on the army. As he could be right now jumping straight into the Mythical Age. You can see he already does have the resources that he did not use, so therefore he used it on some units somewhere. Not sure, but the Petsukai are gonna be quite a nice switch. Obviously needs to be taking care of the Steam Flammers at least a bit. So we are gonna be looking at the battle still raging, and the TC is still kinda standing for some reason. You can see about 400 hit points, with the fire siphons attempted to be coming in, but you need to be switching to Vagabond Lion to have a proper appreciation of what's going on. Apparently no new one clicked in. Is he using auto-Q? Yes, he is. You can see Vagabond Lion is all on auto-Q, whereas ChronoJJ is playing hardcore, so therefore without. So yet again, that's quite an important distinction. And also, a bit of a, like, props to ChronoJJ, let's say. He's able to basically keep up with the Atlantean, no less. Even though it's Gaia, it's still an AT. So therefore the economy is quite solid. But he definitely needs to be getting some extra hit points from Fortified TC. As he Masons, he already does have Masons. But right now they are just desperately trying to keep it alive. But yeah, the villages are not going to be enough there. As without empowering, as you can probably use at least one of the priests in there, it just isn't all that enough. Thank you for the follow, Didi. Hope you're gonna be having some good fun. You can see at least have the heavy spearman, as he's having copper shields, and on top of that the leather frame shield for even better protection like that. But let's check out here the town centers when we switch into ChronoJJ. And he's having auto-Q on the villages, but on the army, this is actually really interesting. He's going auto-Q on villages, but not on the army. On the army you can see he's basically clicking it on, kinda normally. It's kinda curious here. That is of course costing him quite a lot of resources like that. But well, at any rate, let's see if it's gonna be working out or not, because he's gonna be dropping a Migdol in quite a nice defensible position next to the settlement. That's gonna be obviously making it a whole lot harder for Vagabond Lion to be doing anything about that. You can see already double bronze and copper. The opponent was only on the copper shield still, and probably not gonna be getting significantly better. As to the top side, that's a much more important, no, much more, maybe equally important Migdol coming down. Significantly this used to be, or that needs to be, covered, not only because of the gold mine to the top that is almost out, because the secondary one here. Because this gold is blocked. I think he's still having one trees. Yeah, still one forest. That's gonna be coming from this side. To completely block the gold, so he's playing a bit of a long game. But yeah, nonetheless, right now the Migdol Stronghold is gonna be quite significantly helpful in getting rid of the Murmillas. You can see basically no siege weapons coming here from the Vagabond Lion. You can see definitely not building anything, even though he has plenty of resources and he can be affording all of it and all the time. And yet that's also a pretty good point, that ChronoJJ is having tons of gold and he's not using mercenaries. You can see it's basically some kind of conviction that he has from the olden times even. And it hasn't left him and he's still living with that. Very rare games where he actually uses that. Like very, very extremely rare. But otherwise the Petsuchai seem to be working well, and even an elephant is coming out of here. Oh well, that's a bit of a surprise. That's all the way through bottom. There's gonna be small raiding going on with the Turmas against all the laborers. And also a bit of an interesting stuff that you can see basically how hardcore is Vagabond Lion still going for the Turmas. Right now even upgrading them into heavy Turmas, instead of, for example, switching into Archive. Yeah, so you can see how different the meta was back then to today. And he was really thinking that, or really believing that Turmas are relevant units to still making them all time, because he has made a lot of counter barracks, obviously. So he's not even switching to Kontarai. Like, on the original version, Kontarai are really kind of weak, and you really don't want them against the Spearmen of Dra. But you would be thinking that, for example, Archive would be quite a legit unit to use for him. But so far, doesn't seem all that much of a case. Now, the Vagabond Lion is switching a bit more into the left side. You can see he's kind of trying to move there a bit more. Also a bit of a forced target with the rocks, or maybe just to hide the villages. Could be like both. Could be pretty much both. But yeah, well, it seems like the situation here is not gonna getting any kind of different too much, and we're probably waiting for ChronoJJ to be able to get into the Mythic Rage, because right now Vagabond Lion is getting a bit lower on the resources. He's already starting with the trade, and he's having everything but farming. Can see he's absolutely not upgrading farms, because he just basically doesn't produce all that many units costing food, and he doesn't need food for right now anything else than just the Champion Destroyer, which he has upgraded, and he has already double bronze and copper, so for a few upgrades, again he's still having plenty of food. But at the same time, if he was having the upgrades, he could be switching the villages into somewhere else, so yeah, that's something that could really easily happen that way. But it didn't. Right now we are having a bit of a drop of the internet here, it seems like. So I'm gonna right now pausing it. Okay, so hopefully now it's gonna be working. Okay, hopefully it's right now on. So sorry about that, not really sure what happened. That's almost like, I don't know, some kind of weird misclick or some combination of keys that somehow triggered some hotkey on OBS or whatnot. I don't know. But nonetheless, sorry about that. Hopefully it's gonna be right about now alright. I kinda try to pause it as soon as I notice that, so it's gonna be like a minute missing or whatnot. So let's continue with the fight here. As you're talking about just the economy of Vagabond Lion. Vagabond Lion, who was having, of course, a bit of a not much of a need for food, but nonetheless, if you get the extra upgrades, then you are still gonna be able to reposition the villages into somewhere else. So basically, the Turmas are still quite a respected unit for a Vagabond Lion, but let's switch into ChronoJJ's point of view. Now, so you're gonna be looking into the siege works here. Apparently, Monument to Gods. He's gonna be having all of them right now. ChronoJJ trying to get as much favor as possible for all the Petsuchai, and right now he's finally breaking through a bit, and it seems like he's gonna be able to even claim the TC. Having enough gold at this point. Yeah, so you are looking at still the same upgrades pretty much. Nothing has changed for ChronoJJ, although it could be slowly changing. You can see already bronze shields and double copper. So to the top, there's gonna be the last tree actually coming forward. So he's kinda happy with the blockage of the trees here. That's gonna be probably enough. So the last one is gonna be trying to destroy the one to the top, as he's trying to send the villages in. That's interesting idea, because it could be effectively, of course, blocking what the opponent is gonna be doing. You can see he's right now sending even the elephant in, or is he not? Yeah, you can see he's having the elephant there. So he's gonna be maybe trying to block the trees. He should be sending a bit more to the left. Or not? No, not sure. But if you're gonna be having the release there, you could potentially block the trees from spawning. Or drop in some kind of small buildings like granaries. That's also something that can be working pretty damn well. And of course here this is gonna be resulting into the TC still not getting taken, and apparently the Turma still being strong enough for the battle. So we are not moving from this spot too much. You can see Vagabond Lion on the left side is gonna be getting attacked by a siege tower, but there are way too many villages at this point going on. So yeah, maybe though he could be actually helping himself by casting right now the locus here. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately it's gonna be way too late. Oh, he almost killed it. He could have killed that. That was a bit of an overreaction. But I think he's right now playing on the fact that the shooting is gonna be killing it anyway. And it's going to be good enough. It's going to be much more than good enough. And therefore, with right about now the citizen almost dead here, it seems like that we still haven't moved anywhere as far as ChronoJJ's perspective. And he's still on basically only one spot. He is having right now only 140 population limit because obviously he's missing the TC. Opponent is gonna be fully popped. Yeah, 166, so he's having everything that he can. That means that he's also having the relic for the extra pop limit, right? Now, Horus. As you can see, it's gonna be the market finally to the top. This is minute 26 is when ChronoJJ is starting Azara with the trade. So it's a fairly interesting little moment at this point. Quite interesting indeed. So of course here is gonna be resulting into the palace right now, probably putting quite a significant stop to ChronoJJ's plans. But unfortunately for Vagabond Lion, way more such siege towers from the bottom side also resulted into the town center getting destroyed. You can see he's gonna be reacting with the kind of same idea and also going for a bit of raiding ChronoJJ. So it seems that as you're maybe looking at a bit of a downfall of Chrono, it might be actually turning into something exactly the opposite. Because while still there's gonna be a bit more population limit available for Vagabond Lion through the relic, that's only 4, that's like 2 extra units. Nothing all that extremely major. And you can see straight now stockpiling tons of resources because he just doesn't have anything to spend it on. But it could be also helpful as he does have champion Turmas, he's gonna be able to get the last upgrades into the battlefield as well. You can see he's gonna be getting right now the bronze as well. More and more siege towers are sneaking in for Chronos, so very well played. Though of course right now he needs to be defending himself as there are a few destroyers and a few dryads trying to take down the very important Migdol in the middle of the map. You can see the elephant is finally making his way all the way through. As apparently, his poor village is gonna be joining the fate of the priest here. The priest has been freed. The priest has been freed because he has been cut out of the forest. You can see a few idols in there. So he lasted long enough to be helpful in the fights yet again. But well, you can see that here the TC or the TC. No, like a bit of a shootout between the palace and the Migdol apparently. So basically with the Migdol here having only copper weapons and this one having already bronze weapons, it's gonna be a bit easier for the palace to potentially put it down with 16.8 attack against 13.2, even though of course 3000 hit points against only 2300. Otherwise the defense is same at 95% for both of them. But yeah, well, it seems like the missing TC is gonna be quite a bit of a dent into Vagabond Lion's plans, and he's right now starting to fall apart quite a bit. Maybe a bit of a surprise he didn't go for Titan when he was having so many resources there. That's something you could be maybe expecting at that point. Now ChronoJJ right now is not all that well off as far as the resources. His economy is fairly well upgraded, missing basically only flat control. The last one for the farming. Well, here we are gonna be looking at champion catapulties with champion Turmae, all kinds of interesting units for a late game battle for Atlantean that you wouldn't be seeing basically today. Catapulties you wouldn't be seeing, Turmas you wouldn't be seeing at all. So it's kind of really nice to be seeing something completely different and how it used to be played in all those ages past. You can see ChronoJJ is also gonna be trying to at least take advantage of the little gold that he can be still getting from the middle here. You can see there are about 2 Petsuchaira, as he did get the Crocoropolis upgrade, and obviously with a few more to the bottom. Yeah, laser crocs with 55 attack are gonna be quite legitimately deadly. You see the bottom size on the construction still, and obviously this is also something that needs to be noted, is that ChronoJJ is fighting in the heroic age, whereas his opponent is in the mythical age for quite the longest time already. It's a bit curious that it's still working out, but the mythical units, as we said, they are a problem always for an Atlantean, so you never should be afraid to be using them properly, because they're just having always a harder time getting all the heroes for that, especially if it's like a proper late game, where and when you need to be investing into the army, and it's barely enough. So Vagabond Lion has right now finished with the TC again. He's gonna be ChronoJJ coming there a bit too late for the town center, but considering of course the villages right now protecting the siege towers, maybe it could be still working. He definitely could have, and Karokyo, that's kinda good point. When he had the tons of gold there, he could have bought a bit of food and advance. I think he actually even had the resources really quickly after Heroic Age. He could have just jumped into the Mythical Age in there, but decided not to. Decided to be duking it out still. But well, more Slimfan Embers coming forward with apparently the palace changing places from here all the way to the top, which is kinda important because it's also gonna be shooting on the villages on the gold. And this gold mine is down to 2000, that's still enough. With the caravans not being too bad, 90. He's not even empowering apparently. He's empowering the TC, and he's actually right now having idle Pharaoh. That's a bit of a shame. Yeah, they're going all the way to the bottom, nice. As Pharaoh is only looking at people with what is happening and controlling them, that they are working instead of himself putting in some effort towards the success of his realm and of his empire. But well, looking at this battle, it's looking more and more likely that the Vagabond Lion is gonna be in the control of the situation for the time being. It's gonna hang in, I'm thinking, on the Migdol, that as soon as the Migdol would be down, then the situation would be done. And yes, you are definitely right, Kariko. With Son of Osiris, the situation would be significantly different. He'll be really wrecking all the units in here. But well, at any rate, that's not the case. You can see the Migdol is still having quite nice hit points in there. Whereas, well, to the bottom side, doesn't seem like that ChronoJJ will be having some kind of secondary chance on that too much. Even though he's still trying to send the siege tower in. As well, here it seems to be getting more and more unlikely that ChronoJJ will be able to handle the situation with only 4 villages right now repairing and way too many units right now damaging everything they can with even iron shields on them. And Axeman not being upgraded, you can see bronze and double copper, but here again he cannot even get into the iron as he is in the Heroic Age and still trying to duke it out here. Rather impressive obviously, since you had about 31 minutes with still Heroic Age Egyptian here and fighting against Mythical Age Atlantean, and well, ChronoJJ doing what he can. But kind of question is if maybe it isn't because of, for example, using the Turmas all the time, for example, not switching into something different like the Archive. But well, that was quite an interesting game. Sorry for the hiccup in the middle with the stream that it got interrupted. Not sure really what went on, but yeah, well, it did, unfortunately. I'm gonna be able to follow through and connect it properly for YouTube, but hopefully I can pause it quickly enough so you didn't miss all that much of a game time in there here on stream. And this was a bit of a look into 2004 or 5. I'm gonna be having to properly look into when it was upgraded and uploaded, and wow, exactly at the end of the game we see some Archive. At the end of the game they are finally coming in. You can see from the military barracks here to the top. The point is that he was basically going hardcore into counter barracks pretty much only, having very rare amount of military barracks here for the Murmillas and anything else. So yeah, quite nice exposure to different meta and different times, and of course completely different game styles of the players as well. So Vagabond Lion is gonna be the victor here against ChronoJJ. So let's have a look into the post game, and it's gonna be kind of equal score. 1 point missing from straight 9000 for blue, but otherwise you can see tons of food for Chrono. But otherwise the other resources much better for the Atlantean. And again he was having like 12,000 there. So that's 5 here, and like 19,000 more resources for the Atlantean, and still it was taking him such a long time to be able to break through and to win. You can see 427, quite a bit of a meat grinder with such an amount of units. For half an hour game, that's still kind of solid. Pretty damn solid. You can see Archaic TC, of course, the later advance. Kind of quick advance for ChronoJJ, frankly. For Ara, but he obviously wasn't going for 2 TC fast to Heroic, so it was a bit different. And different ideas behind it all. 266 Spearmen, but 18 Petsuchaira. And even the automatons were used kinda nicely a bit earlier in the battle. As you can see, of course, on the civilians, ChronoJJ was kind of reasonably high, but then he obviously started to fall. And also a bit curious that he didn't start the trade a whole lot earlier. That's kind of strange that he didn't go for that. Maybe he was thinking that the game is kind of in the balance, but nonetheless, you need to be thinking about the possibility that it maybe isn't. And you can see, of course, that he was starting to fall on the numbers, but still, that was because Vagabond Lion was extra TC up. And then when he dropped the second, well, the front second, then it was kind of tight for a bit. But at that point, just the advances and the upgrades that it allowed Vagabond Lion to be getting some extras because of stockpiling resources with the missing population limit. And then not much then that ChronoJJ could be doing against that. So, GG. Okay, so that was a bit of an interesting adventure into the olden times. And considering that right about now it's already almost 1:30 AM, I'm thinking that almost might be it then for today. Just kind of wanted to be finishing with at least some game, as like the last one on the live kind of fell apart a bit. So I'm thinking that might be for today's evening. Maybe gonna be just hosting somebody. Seems like my SS is streaming. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed today. That's going to be it for today's entertainment. Hopefully entertainment for you as well. I definitely enjoyed the last game. It's always kind of fun to be looking at the olden times and how the game used to be played a bit differently before it was today. And otherwise, as I said before, then there's gonna be a new tournament hosted by Shelty and Kilty again on Saturday. You can find all the information on !Shelty. So feel free to join up and also to play. So we could have, for example, seen maybe some kind of different meta because it was no patch match that we have watched here. And it's gonna be the same on Saturday. And therefore, otherwise, you might be also interested in some other games that I stream in tomorrow and on Friday. I'm gonna be streaming Age of Empires 2, as there are some more playoff matches from the Euro Rumble tournament. So tomorrow at 18 GMT, that's gonna be one of them. Always forget it, that's Poland versus United Kingdom. And on Friday at 13 GMT, that's gonna be early in the day. That's gonna be UK, or the UK Oceania versus Slavs. So if you're into Age of Empires 2, that's gonna be tomorrow. And on Friday and on Saturday, we're gonna be having the one-day Age of Mythology tournament. There's gonna be, of course, plenty of community streams of that as well. But yeah, well, I'm gonna be trying to also help out if it's gonna be needed and required for the community. And well, as always, every Wednesday we are having some more Age of Mythology goodness here from Wooble usually. And then on Monday, depends yet again if there's not gonna be anything live from AoE or AOM, then I will be continuing with the Settlers playthrough. So if you're into very old school games, then maybe it might be something of interest for you as well. But in the meantime, as always, reminder, rts-sanctuary.com. That's the home of the Age of Mythology community. So you can find, for example, this recorded game that I just streamed here that can be found there, as the same as tens of thousands of others from all ages of Age of Mythology, being both new and old. So feel free to visit and get some inspiration for how to maybe improve your game if you are interested in that. You can also head into the section with strategy guides and some kind of walkthroughs through build orders. And of course, just you can be joining for normal conversation and discussions if you are so interested. Then obviously there's Age of Mythology Heaven. That's if you are into like modding and custom scenarios, graphical mods or anything like that, then it's a good place to be. And then of course we have been playing on Wooble, the best place for Age of Mythology and Age of Empires multiplayer, and using Wooble balance patch 4.0. But you can be using the original game if you wish so, or you can be playing however you want. You can see there's RLM here, a real or rather random land map, but there are also quite often some custom scenarios like some tiny or players playing together versus Titans AI. You can be finding Deathmatch, Zelda you can see here, there's Tiny Freak Plate. And there are also plenty others like some Norse Wars or Settlers here and there, so maybe just feel free to join and host your own game, and you might be having maybe some fun with players that you didn't even know are gonna be there waiting for you. So otherwise, thank you for the follows today. That was from a bit earlier, looking right now at Kanye T West, Ledror Svets, Naldinho Silva, and did it 1294. Obviously, thank you very much, Guilty, for that, for those 5 gifted subs. Definitely appreciate it. Hopefully, receivers are gonna be enjoying those or appreciating those. I definitely do appreciate the support, as currently we are at 14 subscribers here. But it's gonna be falling, I'm thinking now, because I think at most, or a lot of them should be right now falling off. But nonetheless, that's quite a high number anyway, as we are used to about like 3-4 here on the channel with a few dedicated people. So yeah, well, thank you very much. And that's therefore gonna be it. And let's find who we are gonna be there for hosting. Also, thanks for the host today. One for Matreus at the beginning, and then rates by, the raid by Odinkin a bit earlier. Okay, so who is streaming so far? Now, I think that was Mysis Best God who was streaming. Then there is, for example, Dawn streaming Vanilla. And Super Afim King is also streaming Vanilla. That's one of the top Vanilla players. Yeah, I'm kind of guessing that we're gonna be shifting it into Mysis. He's playing some 1v1s apparently. Okay, so thank you, Fortune, and sorry for the mishap in the middle of the reds, ruining ChronoJJ's game. Hopefully he's gonna be forgiving me. And see you later.